Uh, Good evening. My name's Alun R, and tonight I'm facilitating a game in the Gauntlet Games Now kind of instant con game. It's a one-shot of Achtung, Cthulhu Dark, in which British agents will confront Nazis and Cthulhu Mythos behind enemy lines during World War II in a setting inspired by the Achtung Cthulhu setting from Modiphius Games. The base rules are Cthulhu Dark, written by Graham Walmsley, but I've added some changes inspired by the Cartel PbtA Quickstart rules, written by Mark Diaz Truman and published by Magpie Games, which is a great game, by the way. And before I get into any details of the game, what I'd like to do is to ask the players to introduce themselves in character keeper order, if that's okay, along with the very starting point of their character. We'll build up the rest of the character while we're live. So, Sabine, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us the first thing about your character? Thank you.
Hi, I am Sabine. I use any pronouns. I am playing a hard-eyed commando who is male and uses he, him pronouns, and whose name I don't yet know because I forgot that he does need one, actually. He used to be a postal worker. I think he's an American guy, and I think it was mostly idealism that caused him to sign up. So yeah, my country, right or wrong? Yeah. American is okay, right?
Yeah, no, that's fine. We're playing 1942, so America's in the war.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Could you describe yourself as others see you?
Yeah, sure, I can. I've named him. No, I haven't. I wanted to name him Bill, but we have a Will at the table, so that would be confusing, and I don't want to do that. So
go for Bill. No one ever calls me Bill, so I will never respond to it.
Okay, cool. Then his name is Bill. He will probably respond to his last name anyway. His name is Bill Washington, and he is pretty tall. We're undercover, right? Kind of undercover. Okay, so he is a white guy. He's a bit scarred. You don't see much of it in his face, but if he has to take off his shirt, you would see that he's been doing some actual fighting, and he tends to speak little and just look at things with a grim outlook, I guess. He's not the kind of guy you'd approach in a pub or something.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So if you can just fill that in the character keeper, give us some record of that. Moving along to Will, would you introduce yourself and tell us about Simone, please?
So my name is Will, and I've been playing with the Gauntlet just over a month now. And my character is Simone, who I will try and do a cod French accent for the entirety of this game. So I apologize to any French people because it's not very good. But yes, so Simone is a undercover agent. She's late 30s. She's rather striking, dark hair, piercing eyes. She wears gloves at all times. And Simone used to be a high society mistress before, at some point in her youth, she went on a journey on the Orient Express and became embroiled in the mythos. And with the invasion of the Nazis in her lovely home country, she has stepped up to SOE and has returned to France to lead their agents in the war.
That's great. And so can you describe us as others see you?
How others see Simone?
How do other people see you? Yeah. How do they see Simone?
A rather tall, elegant woman, well dressed, neat and tidy, but in all the right ways, fashionable, with a rather alert but kind of relaxed, like a tiger. She's a very together woman, largely because she's one of the only people who survived that original campaign.
Okay, well, if you can complete that little bit of what you did before and describe yourself as a CU, we'll come back to the rest later. And then, Jim, would you introduce yourself and tell us about Sean McCarthy?
Sean McCarthy is a Protestant Irish lad from the Republic who because of his involvement with his uncle's family business, like had a run-in with the authorities where he was offered basically, strange ways or enlistment, and chose enlistment. So the way of describe yourself as others see you, I have ginger lad who probably lied about his age to get enlisted. I look young, like I don't have I don't have a beard yet or anything, and I've got that like freckles, flaming red hair, kind of close cut, a little bit curly, kind of thing going on. So,
and do you want to be specific about what you did before, or do you want to leave it as vague as that?
oh, if I was involved in the family business, yeah.
I think we know what that means. So right, I'll go back round to ask John Washington, which member of the team do you care most about? Don't answer why yet. Just identify one of the others that you care most about.
I think I care most about Simone.
Okay. Simone, tell me why John Washington cares about you most.
He's a typical American, thinks that he must protect the woman in distress, and I will not disabuse him of the notion.
Is that enough to fill in that little box on the character keeper?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll roll along to Sabine. Which member of the team do you care most about?
I think you mean Simone.
I do. Sorry.
For some reason, these two names get confused a lot.
Yeah, I've been concentrating on Will and Bill. I forgot about Simone and Sabine. Right.
Sorry.
Simone. Which member of the team do you care most about?
She cares most about Jim, because he is far too young for this.
I think you mean Sean, but I know what you mean.
Sean. Sorry, he's written. I've read the wrong box on the thing. Sorry. Yeah,
okay.
Sean.
Okay, Sean. Why does Simone care most about you?
I almost certainly remind her of someone that she lost on a previous mission.
I think that's quite nice. Yeah. Is that enough then, Simone? You can fill in that box?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And then finally, Sean, who do you care most about?
Oh, definitely. What's your rank, John Washington? Are you a sergeant? Are you a captain? What are you?
Yeah, I'm some rank, I guess. I have no idea about military ranks. I know Captain America is kind of big, so I like to be a captain.
All right, Captain Washington. Oh, you're muted, Alan.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, Cap. Why does Sean care most about you?
Probably because of some kind of hero worship thing.
Yeah, too easy that one. Too easy that one. Yeah. Okay, fine. That's all rolling on nicely. Can I go back round to John Washington again? Which member of the team do you care least about? Given that there are only 3 of you, this is a less difficult question.
Let me think for a while, please. I think it has to be Sean.
Sean, why does John think much less of you than you think of him?
Because I'm not here voluntarily.
Yeah.
Because he would have been able to get out of me pretty quickly. That I'm not like I don't want to be here.
No, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Similarly, then, Simone, which person do you care least about? And again, a difficult question.
Well, it has to be Mr. Washington, and
Okay, well,
Captain Washington.
Captain Washington.
And Cap, why does Simone care least about you?
Wait, because probably. Wait. Maybe because I've killed too much. Maybe she can sense that.
Yeah, that would work neatly, wouldn't it? Okay, Simone, you can fill that in. And finally, we know, Sean, I think, that you care least about Simone, but I am going to ask Simone why.
Because now, do I make you a sexist or do I make you a racist?
You could make yourself Catholic.
Yeah, no, she's I imagine her as a atheistic French beat poet kind of style. So
yeah, no, if you're an atheist, that'd really tick me off. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have no respect for anything.
Yeah.
The cause, the country, the war, like it's all just nihilism for me. So yeah,
that's great.
Doesn't believe in anything.
So I'll just give you all a moment to catch up on filling in the character keeper that far before we embark on the last bit. Okay, let's go round to John Washington. Why did you join the Secret War? And you tell me why you joined the Secret War, or tell our viewers, because I can read it.
Well, I think I joined the Secret War in America because there are problems there too, and I was a postal worker, weirdly enough, but sometimes if you go out to the farms somewhere in the country, you see weird stuff. And that's how I became involved in the thing. And then when they told me that there were even worse problems over and the war thing, and I said, hey, I can do that for God, for a country, for democracy, or something in that vein.
So Cap is in this for truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah, like that, yeah.
So the key question then is, what would it take for you to betray those things?
I have no idea. What would it take? I think fear, plain and simple. If he really thought he was going not just to die a clean death or something, he's kind of reconciled himself to that. But if he was in danger of losing his mind and losing his free will or stuff like that, or even mutilation or something like that.
So something like an unclean death, or the loss of self.
Yeah, loss of self, I think, and it might be even mutilation and things like that.
Okay, no, that's fine. So Simone, why did you join the Secret War? And then we'll ask the question that's related to your choice.
So Simone joined when she found out that the Nazis were, investigating and trying to exploit the mythos, and the horrors that they were, inflicting upon the occupied countries.
And what exactly would you do to stop them?
Anything.
Anything. Capital A, anything.
I would do anything to stop these.
Okay, would you write that in large capital letters, please? Because anything covers quite a lot in this game, doesn't it? Okay. And then finally, Sean, why did you join the Secret War?
Oh, man. I think blackmail fits best. There are things that, if revealed, would ruin your reputation and or threaten those you love. Like I said, if it was prison or sign up, I feel like that's the one that makes the most sense. Although, yeah, I feel like let me actually. I'm just gonna look at greed. No, it's blackmail, definitely. Yeah.
So this is more than just prison, then.
Yeah.
What do they know that would be so hurtful to the people at home?
boy. They know that I was playing both sides.
Oh, yes.
That I was like I talk a big line about, Queen and Country, but really was just out to make a buck.
Fine.
Which doesn't just blow back on me, it blows back on my family and and all of that stuff. So I think that's
So yes, I'm imagining a tricky scene just before going into court, where someone from British intelligence is having a very sensible conversation with you.
Yes, yeah. I feel like I'm sitting there all smug, and someone just walks in with a folder, and they open it, and they just start showing me black and white pictures that they've taken of me meeting with people I really shouldn't be meeting with, and I'm like, okay. So yeah.
Fine. So the story may be that it's about it was prison or this, but there's much more behind that. Great. Then you can fill that in as well. That's great, folks. Those are interesting characters that I hope will have a good time. A couple of mechanical things before I launch into a description of the game. Can you all see the role for your party? Just to explain, because the hack I'm using involves slightly more dice, I've devised a single pool of dice that you'll all use. I hope that, I know some people get a bit twitchy about using the same set of dice, but I can't think of a way to do this simply by having all of those for each of you. So there are all of 6 dice that could be rolled, but you will all roll the same ones depending on what you're doing. Pardon me. Okay, then I will get on with describing the game. You can find this in the cat section of your character keeper or words to this effect. So, as I've said, this is a game about British agents operating in occupied Europe during World War II. The difference is that in this game, the supernatural, occult, and Cthulhu mythos is real. We'll be using Cthulhu Dark rules by Graham Walmsley, but I've hacked those to reflect the wartime setting. And particularly some of those hacks are to help me frame the ways in which characters will be able to stay sane in the face of the stress of war and the mythos. And my thanks to Mark Diaz Truman for those hints. Now, the aim. Both the Third Reich and the Allies are interested in how occult and supernatural forces can be harnessed to help them win the war. On the Nazi side, this is the role of a shadowy group operating within the Ahnenerbe, an arm of the SS formed from scholars in a variety of disciplines, but including a number claiming to be occultists. It's the early spring of 1943. Britain has been at war with Germany for some time, and recently, what was Vichy France, southern France, has been occupied by the Germans. They've been in place about 6 months now. And on the Allied side, on the British side, a group called Her Majesty's Pursuivants. They've been keeping the United Kingdom safe from the occult since before it was united. And they have been co-opted into the war effort, into particularly the efforts around the occult and supernatural. The mysterious head of the Pursuivants, the Percys, called Black Dragon Pursuivant, has learned through contacts in British intelligence of strange goings on around an ancient hill fort east of Bordeaux. The character's mission is to find out what's going on and if the situation warrants it, act, while ensuring that what they learn gets back to the Pursuivants, the Percys in London. Now the tone, we have Nazis, we have Cthulhu, we have the occult. So this game is intended to be rich in darkness and foreboding. How dark may depend on how the players approach the game, but this is not intended to be Indiana Jones. As in any game based on the Call of Cthulhu, it's fair to say that the longer-term fate of the character is pretty bleak, and the Cthulhu Dark rules are no more forgiving in that direction. In fact, I may well be accelerating the rate at which characters crack, given this is a one-shot. and I'm quite interested to see them forced to seek easy relief. The subject matter. This session involves the occult activity of our fictionalized Third Reich. The activities of the real Nazi regime that took over Germany in the 1930s are well known, and by adding aspects of the occult and supernatural to the mix, I want to stress I'm not seeking to trivialize those real events. But given the nature of the material, therefore, we'll be careful to use the safety tools espoused by the Gauntlet community. And I should stress that if you want to know more about the Gauntlet, you can find them online, and then you could join us in one of these Gauntlet Game Nows in a month's time or so, or more regularly, and you get to play with really good people like the people I'm playing with tonight. In terms of those safety tools, the Gauntlet inclusivity policy will operate, and you can find details of that on the Gauntlet RPG website. We will be using the X card as the principal safety tool. I wish I could say that if you write something in the chat, I will pick it up, but I tend to focus on the people in front of me, I have to say. So if you want to play the X card, the best way to get is to literally mark it in front of me. If you play the X card because something you're finding disturbing or you're finding the material a bit difficult, you will not have to explain why you've used the X card. I may ask you how far back you want me to go to before that material, just so I know where to rewind to, and then we'll play forward again from that point, hopefully having me more sensitively avoid the material that was a concern in the first instance. We'll also be using lines and veils. The lines, the players can find this in Character Keeper. Given the darkness inherent in this setting, I found it quite difficult to define my starting point. But that starting point will be that there will be no graphic representation of Nazi atrocities, or of sexual violence or violence against children or animals. But I suppose I am conscious that we may inevitably come across some of the effects or consequences of those situations. Is there anything that any of the three of you would want to add to as a line?
Yeah, I would like to modify the graphic sexual violence to any sexual violence.
Absolutely. Can you make that change in the Character Keeper, please?
Sure, I can.
Anything else on lines? Fine. Thank you.
No. You're muted again, Alan.
Thank you. The other one is veils. Because I'm old and British, I find graphic descriptions of sex tricky. So while sex may happen in the game, that will be behind the curtain, so to speak. Any other lines, any other veils that you'd like to put in place, folks? Okay.
Give me a second. Can we maybe veil torture? I mean, it's clear that it might happen, but I don't want very graphic descriptions.
Yeah, that's in my overarching bit of atrocity, I suppose. But yeah, put it in specifically, please. We may see the impact or effects, but we certainly won't be looking at it on screen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it might come to the point where we're at like, oh, we have to torture this Nazi now, and I don't want this described in any detail.
That's fine. That's fine. Fade to black on that.
Yeah.
And the last point is that we will have an open table. So, if at any point you need to wander away, we will put a break in about 20 minutes, perhaps. But if you do need to wander away from the table, just take a break, have a walk about. That's fine by me. Right. With all of that in mind, then, let's kick off. Now, I'm going to hard frame you into an opening scene, but I just want to ask you a couple of questions first. It would be quite handy if one of you was already in country, behind enemy lines. And from my point of view, there's an obvious candidate, but I don't want to force you into that.
No, I would be more than happy for Simone to be the local contact.
That would work nicely. And then again, it makes logical sense for the other two to be dropped in by parachute from the UK. Yeah. So John and Sean will be dropping by parachute. Simone will be on the ground in advance. Language is a tricky one. Given that neither John nor Sean's background is particularly advantaged, my suggestion is that they have a smattering of French, enough to get by, but not enough to be convincing, unless you have a reasonable argument to tell me why you would be French speaking.
Bonjour.
Yeah, and then there's bonjour in a strong Protestant accent. Yeah, okay, no, that's fine. It may well be enough to get by with the Germans, but it will be obvious to the French that you are not from around here. Okay. Fine. Let me then ask you some questions. And again, I think I'll go the other way this time. So I'll start with Sean. Sean, there's a dawn till dusk curfew in place. What time is it when we see this scene open?
It's definitely like middle of the night. Like it's, you know, like they did that thing where they time it so that there's no moon and it's overcast, and we, you know, do a like, you know, like low altitude parachute drop and stuff like this, and it's like crazy and harrowing, and yeah, and it's pitch fucking black out.
Yeah, that works for me. Okay, going to Simone then. I'm going to assume that you have collected the parachutists. How dense is the forest you're running through?
It is thick, dark forest, you know, like the Black Forest style.
Okay, so it's some dense woodland. And then, Sean, who's shooting at you?
I think who's shooting at us is actually some old. No, it's actually a Nazi patrol. They noticed that there were some noises in the dark forest, and they are shooting just like for fun. They might think we're boars or something. They're not really thinking that we're people. They're just having a blast because it's dark, the forest is dark, nobody's around, and they have all these guns, and now they can use them to shoot maybe some French pigs or deer or something.
Or indeed anyone who happens to be breaking the curfew.
Yeah, right, that too.
Okay, I'll come back round then. Sean, who's struggling to keep up?
Cap is.
Yeah.
Because he's loaded full of gear. He's a big guy, and I am used to sneaking around places at night, and so this is, this is what, I could be in the forest outside Belfast here. This is what I've done this routine I've done before.
And back and forth across the border, I dare say. Yeah. Okay. So Cap, is it because you are heavily laden, or is there another reason why you are struggling to keep up?
I'm not the best parachuteer that ever was born. I kind of landed badly, and now I'm manfully trying to ignore that. I might have twisted my ankle.
Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a point of insight, because insight covers physical as well as emotional stress. So I'm going to ask you to mark insight, just because of that slight injury on the drop. At this point, it's worth me just mentioning equipment. What I need you to do now, all three of you, is to select a category of load. If you select that you are light loaded, then you can pass for a civilian. If you opt to be medium loaded, then you will draw some more suspicion if you're encountered. And if you're heavy loaded, you will look like what you are, which is a well-equipped professional on a very serious mission. So can I ask each of you to select a loading now? I will give you access to the cache of equipment that was dropped before you later if you need it. So this is not a once and for only decision, but I do need to know how you're equipped broadly now. And for those of you familiar with Blades in the Dark, you won't have to tell me how that load is allocated until you choose to say, ah, yes, I have a pistol. You all have false papers, a knapsack or bag of some kind, and a hidden suicide capsule, unless you tell me you don't. And you can all have a commando knife and compass maps, etc., without any impact on your load, though both those items will be, inverted commas, suspicious were you to be confronted about them. Yeah? So just bear that in mind at this point. So, okay, I think then, Cap, you can see. Sorry, we've abandoned John already. It's just Cap, isn't it? So, Cap, you are beginning to lag behind. There are some flashlights in the forest behind you, the dense forest behind you. There's negligible moonlight because you've chosen to drop on a cloudy, miserable night. What are you going to do? Because they're closing on you, and there are occasional whizzing past you bullets. What do you do, Cap?
How many are there? Are there? Can I have a guess? Can I guess? Are there 2 or 15 or?
I think certainly there are at least 2, but you don't think that they're in double figures.
Okay. Well, what to do here? Let me have a little think. I might. Yeah, you know what? We're in a forest, right? And there are trees, so I might just get up a tree and let them pass.
Okay. Now,
and maybe then, if there is a single person next to coming under my tree, I might jump them, but no, I wait it out for the moment.
Okay. Now, the basic moves. There are very few moves. There is investigate stuff. There's do something else, and there's confront the mythos and its minions. I think this is do something else. So you get to roll 1 dice, which in our dice roller is the white dice. Do you think that your experience, either in your wartime role or your life before the war, would amount to expertise in hiding?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I have both survival and I'm a postal worker, which means I had to climb some trees to get away from these dogs of the Widow Merryweather, which, no, they were Rottweilers. They were evil.
So you will get to roll your basic dice and your expertise dice. Do you want to put your insight dice into this mix as well?
Can I decide after I've rolled?
You can, because you can always try again by adding it back in.
Ah, okay. Yeah, then I'll just roll these 2. I have a 6 and a 2, but I think the 6 is what counts. That's the same thing as a trophy, right?
That's right. It's the highest. It's the highest that. And so for do something else, you succeed brilliantly, but you also glimpse something beyond human knowledge and see or realize something horrific. I think from your position up the tree, you can see on the horizon a sickly green light that is a concern to you. So roll for insight, which is roll 1 dice, presume the white one in the middle of that dice pool, and compare it to your current insight. If you exceed your current insight, you mark insight. So that's a 6. Oh, you're muted, Sabine.
That's too bad. I was saying something very clever, and now I forgot it. No, it's okay. I'm Mark. Another insight.
You do. It's positively racing along for you.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to have to accelerate the rate of insight in this. So let me cut forward then while you're clambering up this tree to Sean and Simone. I'm going to start with Sean because you have some concern for Captain Washington. Sean, you're aware that Cap is not running behind you anymore. What do you do?
I kind of catch up to Simone and I basically like tug on her sleeve.
What?
And I'm not saying anything, but I lean in close enough that we can maybe just see each other. And I point back. I'm like, Cap, where's Cap?
Simone will tense, look around, then swear in French under her breath, and then drag Sean further up the path to maybe find some place where she knows they can, wait for the Nazis to pass as well.
Okay.
Cap's on his own for now.
Okay, then I think that probably Simone is seeking to find a bit of cover for both of you. So it would be logical for Simone to roll to do something else. Sorry, I've just noticed your question, Jim. The avoid detection is specifically when confronted by. So it's when somebody comes to look, when someone's interested in show me your papers, that kind of avoid detection. Okay. So you're. I think probably your expertise. You're a highly trained, skilled operative. So I'm very happy. I think at this point your tradecraft would allow you the expertise. Do you want to put your insight in straight away, or consider it waiting till you try again?
I'll wait until I try again.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a 5 if I'm reading those dice right. You succeed, and the GM may offer you some extra benefit. I think I will offer you an extra benefit. I think you find not just enough cover for yourself, but enough cover for this lad, because there's not much to him. He's pretty wispy. Probably if he turned sideways behind you, he'd disappear. So
He's just a boy.
So I think both of you find a bit of cover and lie low. Back to Cap. The initial kind of running through the forest and the pursuit of the Nazis, they're now listening because it's all gone quiet ahead of them. And you know that the others have either run too far away or they're out of sight. So a Nazi soldier stops below you.
I think I'm a bit rattled with this weird glow. I'm not as gung-ho as I was when I climbed that tree. I'll leave that Nazi. Maybe I think I see a reflection of that green glow in his eyes, and I think, oh no, you don't want to jump this guy. I'm a commando. I've done stuff like this before, and I don't want to jump a tentacle guy or something like that. It's not ever a good idea.
So you sit tight.
I sit tight.
And I think that I am happy at the minute to have the search move past you and give you a chance to regroup. So when you regroup, what do I see? What scene do I see play out?
Well, after a while, I will get down from my tree and start limping into the direction of the castle, because that's where we were going anywhere. And I'm a special, I have some training in survival, so I'm not that loud, but I've also got a twisted ankle, and that's not really good. And I think you are hidden. I won't notice you, but you will notice me, because as I said, I'm a big guy, and I will then curse quietly under my breath and weird for these American curses, which I don't really know. Maybe something like heck or something.
And I think when he goes by our thing, I do that thing where like I like see if I can like get in behind him and tap him on the shoulder before he hears that I'm there.
I think I want you to do something. Do
All right.
something else.
Let's see
Can you
what I
sneak up on Cap?
Yeah.
I think you could. I would totally think that would be lovely if you would.
I have larceny as one of my areas of expertise, so I feel like that applies here.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna roll. I roll the middle die and the expertise die, right? Is how that works.
Yes, that's absolutely
Cool.
right.
Let's see what we got. Oh, there's a 6 on my expertise.
Oh, I mean, Cap, out of nowhere, there's a tap on the shoulder, and I think.
Yeah, I react an instinct, of course. I'll turn around and drop whoever is behind me, and then I'll have a knife at their throat.
So,
I mean,
I think this counts as confront what you think is the mythos or its minions.
yes, minion.
So, if you try to fight human or supernatural foes, are you to kill or subdue?
Subdue. I don't want to kill him. I mean, that's.
So, you certainly get the expertise dice because this is absolutely what you're about. You're not using a heavy weapon, just your dagger, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
So you roll the 2 dice, see how it goes.
Let's see. Oh yeah, goes pretty well.
Yeah, so you succeed brilliantly. I will ask you what benefit you want.
I want the benefit of realizing that this is not a mythos creature, but actually, it's actually Sean.
It's young Sean, yeah. Messing about as usual. Okay, so sighs of relief all round.
No, wait, I'll keep him down and I say, kid, do you realize what you're doing here? This could have ended very badly for you.
I figured you'd know it was me, Cap.
How would I know it was you? This is a Nazi forest.
A Nazi's not going to tap you on the shoulder.
Ha! How do you know that? You know nothing, Sean McCarthy. And then I let you go. Be more careful.
What does Simone make of this?
I hope they are better when it comes to the fight than they are hiding in the forest. Come. We must get out of here before they come back.
Yeah, see, we're here because we're fighting, unlike the French who are hiding in the forest right now. That's why we're here.
So you accept that there are people hiding in the forest who might be on our side. Let's just go.
Simone just looks over at Sean and spits on the floor and leads the way.
So, Simone, you now have an opportunity to go back and get the equipment drop as well, but where were you intending to take them once you'd found the drop party?
To one of our safe houses, which is, I believe, some kind of barn, like in a sort of fairly rural, remote area away from prying eyes and any possibility of the Nazis coming by. You're muted, Alan.
We screen wipe to the barn where you're huddled round an oil lamp. This barn is a mile outside the village of PbtA. PbtA is the village that sits now on top of what was once a Gallic hill fort. And this is the hill fort that you have been sent to investigate. Do you have any questions you would have asked your briefing officer before you took off? Either Sean or Captain Washington?
Can we blow it up?
If you blow up the hill fort, you will have to blow up the village with it. And I doubt they've dropped enough equipment for that kind of demolition job.
So that's a no.
No.
Okay.
Any other questions that you remember asking your briefing officer?
Is there anybody they want us to, like, is there a specific person they want us to take out? Is there a high value target where, like, if we can't get any of the info out, is there someone they want to make sure doesn't, like, get out of that place alive?
Yes, there's a Professor Indorf. Professor Indorf is believed to be working as part of this shadowy arm of the Ananeb. And intelligence suggests that he's leading the activity here. Simone, you know, because you've been on the ground a bit longer, that there is supposed to be an archaeological dig going on at the base of this hill fort, and they are using prisoners of war for the labor. So there's a temporary POW camp set up in the shadow of the hill fort. Any other questions you remember from your briefing? Or indeed, Simone, any other questions that you will have been asking before the drop?
Beyond intel, have we been given any other instructions?
Your instructions are to render all aid to the drop party. Yeah. But if there's anything else you want to ask me based on your week or so in the area, I'm happy to respond to that.
Do I have colleagues in the resistance in the area?
You have so far not managed to identify a local contact.
And what about the buildup of forces in the area? You know, the Germans.
The village has a platoon of German soldiers billeted on it. They provide guards at the POW camp, as well as a kind of protection of the town hall where their platoon is based. Yeah, I think that's all I can tell you about them so far. The barn you're in is not. It's safe in as much as you have identified it as safe. But what is your cover while you've been on the ground?
That's a good question. I think Simone's cover is a relative of someone that she knows that intelligence has identified as dying. You know, a French soldier or something who died, who's from the region, and she's a relative who's left Paris to, you know, seek him out. But since he's dead, no one's ever going to come back, right?
Fine. So, so you're staying in the village somewhere, yeah? Okay. Any other questions about your briefing officer, or then I'll ask you what you want to do next.
Yeah, I want to ask him if he has any suspicion about what's going on there. I mean, why are we going there? There must be a reason.
Unfortunately, not very much detail. It seems to be need to know. Your mission is always need to know, isn't it? Your mission is to investigate what's going on, act if you need to, but certainly get information back to London, either by radio or by getting out yourself if you can make the necessary resistant contacts to find a route out. Otherwise, it's a long walk to the coast.
Yeah, and the radio is on the drop side, right?
It is, and I'm very happy for you to have collected the equipment drop on your way to this barn. Yeah? So, with all that in mind, I'm going to suggest that we take a brief break while you think about what you're going to do next. Yeah? So it's 9 minutes past the hour now. Can I suggest that we are back in our seats just before 20 past the hour? Okay. See you shortly, guys. I admire your commitment, Sabine, because you're down to play 4 of these starting next weekend, I think.
I am actually on the wait list for next week because I thought I wouldn't be able to make it because some other people said we can play then, but we can't. And now on the wait list, I wanted to ask you if I could join you all for character creation because I don't have to play, but if I'm in the character creation, we wouldn't have to do that then the week after that.
Yeah, no, that would be fine. So I'll send you the same details everybody else gets in the next 24 hours, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh. Yeah, so my sense, Will, is that this is mechanically grittier than the Cthulhu Dark Green hack that's been doing the rounds this last week.
Yeah, but in a way, it's almost more narrative as well. Like, because you've taken those cartel sort of moves and you've incorporated them. There's more of a like powered by the apocalypse feel in yours, whereas it's interesting that the Delta Green Dark though layers up like conditions. You know, like you can get injured, severely injured, etc. So you have like 4 different things to track, whereas you've taken the load out of so theirs is kind of like taking the Forge in the Dark stress and injuries, harm gauges, whereas you've taken the loadout thing. Yeah, I like it. I'm assuming that in this hack of Dark, we don't get to roll the failure die against people.
Yeah, you do actually. When push comes to shove, you'll just roll those in because it's easy to do as a single roll. Okay, I've just noticed Jim is having some cereal, so he'll jump back in when he's listening to us, but he doesn't need us to watch him eat. So I guess the question is, you've got as robust a briefing as you're going to get. What's the plan?
We could do a reconnaissance of the site at night. We could see how close we could get if you can be quieter than you were the first time.
Yeah, I can try. I'm not that good with forests, I guess.
If we can get a hold of some Nazi uniforms, we don't need to be quiet.
There are only 1 platoon stationed here. We'll only work at a distance.
So we stay at a distance. We're not going to. I mean, even if we looked great, a conversation with them is not exactly going to go very well.
Yes, and I do not think I have, the right physique for one of those uniforms.
No, but I mean, like, aren't there the Nazis probably have, get girls in town all the time, don't they?
It is.
I know.
Probably more true. Yes, indeed. I have not been here long enough to work out the locals' feelings towards the men.
Well, I mean, like if they do run into you, you're going to be better off dressed like a. Shouldn't you be dressed like a farm girl and not a spy?
Yeah.
Darling, the fashion is the only thing that has made it out of Paris apart from myself. I am not going to dress like some bumpkin. But I will do anything for the war.
Well, I think it looks good on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, lady, I don't want to get lined up against a wall and shot because you don't want to wear, peasant shoes.
Nobody's lining us up against the wall right now. And I think, the idea with the Nazi uniforms is quite good. But do you have some lying around, Miss Simone?
I'm afraid not. Certainly not in your size. I can check my wardrobe though.
Simone will be able to tell you that the platoon is billeted in the village, so they're scattered across the village, 1 or 2 staying with every family. So in theory, at least, there would be some uniforms with those families when the troops aren't wearing them.
Oh,
but,
great. Who does the wash? That's all we need to know.
There is a lady, because there's a common wash, a bathhouse round the back of the town hall, where people can go to have to do the washing, and that's where washing is being done. Must be said that washing tends to be shirts and underwear rather than uniforms.
I do think that the uniform idea is perhaps better than I gave you credit for, young man. But my only concern is I have stayed away from the dig site for fear of rousing suspicions before your arrival. If we have binoculars, we maybe do a long-range reconnaissance, and we can perhaps work out how best to use the uniforms if we get them.
I think I like the idea of first getting a feel for things and then trying to see what we can do with the uniforms. Because going now half-baked after uniforms, if we don't even know if we can use them, that seems like doing it the wrong way around. That makes sense.
Yes, and perhaps an opportunity will arise to pretend to be prisoners rather than guards. You know, you do not even need to speak German. You can just blend in with the other American and English soldiers. I am sorry, Irish. I know how you hate that.
Yes, but the problem with that would be that we would have to get out again. If it was easy to get out of there, then these people wouldn't be there, right? I mean,
true.
Just a point of information: the POW camp is about 3/4 of a mile from the barn.
Mm.
Yeah, so, I agree. It is not ideal to pretend to be a prisoner and become one in the act.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think we should put up the radio here so whoever makes it out can radio stuff back in, I guess. And there was, when I was in the forest, I was on a tree, right? And I saw this weird green glow. And it came from around here. Have you seen that? It was really, it wasn't actually green. It's more like another color. Like the closest I can say is green. I'm not. I don't have the words for that color. Was wrong somehow.
Almost a color out of space, perhaps.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just dropping H.P. Lovecraft quotes.
Go ahead.
Alan, would Simone in the past week have seen this glow?
I think that it's fair to say that every night for the last week, there has been this peculiar glow emanating from the vicinity of the POW camp. It's short-lived. It's almost like a kind of flash, and then another flash, and then it's done.
I think that's what we're here for. Whatever causes this greenish color from space glow, because we're not after the usual stuff. We're more about the weird stuff, I guess.
Certainly, when you were up that tree, it was from the direction of the village, and therefore of the camp.
Can I just ask a general question about the group, perhaps, Alpha, the Pursuivants? Are we all Mythos familiar?
I think probably not. I think that the drive for you is once you found out they would do what they would do, you could not turn aside from your duty. So I think you probably know something of this, but I'm not sure that you've been briefed on the supernatural, inverted commas. It's possible that John Washington has encountered some peculiar stuff, because I'm sure those are claw marks on his back. I'm not sure Sean's had much of a close encounter. with anything but some potatoes to be peeled.
Yes, I believe that is what we are here for as well. I will warn you, there are things here in the dark corners of the earth that we must be prepared for. The Nazis are not the only monsters in this land.
Yeah, wouldn't have thought so.
What's Sean's reaction to that?
It's a load of hogwash. Like I'm I'm not gonna like if she needs to like whatever, okay, yeah. But Sean is just like my face is down, is tiny, kind of tiny down in the corner, but like I just made like a face just like, come on, lady. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything out loud, but Sean is just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, I think that fits neatly because he's too young to have encountered very much at all that isn't very concrete. So unless it's concrete, I don't think Sean's going to believe it. Okay.
He's not long for the world.
Yeah, well, you believe that. So what are you going to do tonight, if anything? Dawn is not for another 3 or 4 hours. Or do you want to cut to tomorrow and tell me what you're doing during daylight?
No, I think we do the reconnaissance thing that Simone suggested.
Yeah. We'll get look at night.
I'm going to cut straight to you, lying on the ground at the fringe of some woodland, looking at probably 100 yards away the wire fence of the POW camp. So so you can see the dark bulk of the hill fort and the great monolithic church of the village sitting at the top of it against the sky. And down here at ground level, you can see half a dozen Nissen huts, some guard towers. This is straight out of my childhood of war films and the tracking searchlights. But it does look as though there is an outer compound with the Nissen huts, and it looks like there's another fenced enclosure, the far side of that, nearer the slope, the wooded slope of the hill fort. So that's what you can see from where we see you, crouched 100 yards or so from the gate to the POW camp. What do you do?
When you say the wooded slopes, that implies that there are some woods on the slopes of this hill where the fort and the church is on. Can we reach these woods through other woods? So can we get to the other side of this thing?
I think the only tricky bit is that you'll need to follow the edge of the woods you're in. Then there's some open ground to cover before because the side that the side of the hill fort, this is the steep side, if you like. There's a shallow side, the other side, where the roads run up to the village. So there's a steep side here. There's some open ground for you to cover. But the good thing is that the searchlights are pointing into the camp, not out of it. What do you do?
What do you think? Should we go over there and have a look?
I would like to double check things with my binoculars that I have in my equipment bag.
Please.
So you know how this mechanically works. You tick with binocular, and you tick one of the equipment boxes under your load. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think this is an investigate roll. Actually.
Cool. And would I be allowed to add my expertise to that, or?
I think you're an undercover operative. I think you've scoped places out with binoculars a lot. So go ahead and use expertise. We'll worry about your insight later.
Oh, well, I get a 6 on my standard die.
So you can see the basic move. So 6, you discover everything a thorough investigator could discover and ask the GM 3 questions. But we'll ask the 3 questions first, and I'll see what I do with the but.
Okay. Do I see a weak point that we could exploit to get closer to the hill fort?
Honestly, I don't think there is. I think there is inevitably going to be some open ground for you to cover. But the good thing is that the attention of the guard towers are into the compound, not out where you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that seems fair. I mean, you can always say no. There are no weak points. This is more of a combination of Simone's knowledge of the area, but is there another approach to the hill fort, say, than the other side of the hill? Could we?
The other approach would be to go into the village, and then at the back of the church, there is a steep slope down that would take you to, I think, the point that John Washington's thinking about, where you could be up a height looking down into the camp.
Right.
The disadvantage of that is that is where the platoon is garrisoned, is billeted.
Is there anything unusual about this prison camp beyond the 2 sections?
Yeah, well, I think that's it. I think, and it is from that second section that these green lights have been seen to be emitted.
Okay.
So not from the Nissen huts of the camp, but for the wired enclosure beyond that. There's your 3 questions. But as you are looking, there is again this kind of peculiar. It's like a light, but it seems to have almost form. So rather than a light which goes on off, this is a light that seems to stretch into the sky and then withdraw again. Would you roll for insight, please?
Yeah, that's a 6. So yeah, I mean, I had a 5 and 6 chance, right?
What frightens you about this? What concerns you about this?
It is a clear sign that there are powers beyond, my experience, my familiarity at work. I don't know what they are, so it's fear of the unknown.
Okay, Sean, you see these as well, but given that this is just some kind of posh flashlight, I'm not going to make you roll insight at this point. So, those are the answers to your questions. What do you do?
Do we make an attempt now to cross the open space, or shall we reconnoiter the village?
I think I'm looking at my watch. I have a arm watch. Looks rather fancy. We have how many hours of night left?
Probably a couple by now.
Okay, so we've got some night left, and I think we should do it now before. Well, with each minute we spend here, they might detect us. Let's go.
You sure?
No, I'm not sure, but
I believe fortune favors the brave. And the only question I would have is, are you comfortable with the equipment that we have brought?
No, I think we need a bit more stuff. I will suit up to medium load. Whatever that means. I have no idea how the equipment actually works.
Okay, well, if I explain. So medium, so you would mark light and now medium. And do you see that underneath light and medium, there are 5 boxes?
Yes.
Those, if you like, are 5 spaces of equipment. Yeah. And then if you
Okay.
look down the bottom, you can see that
Mhm.
binoculars take up a space.
Okay.
A rifle takes up 2 spaces, and so you have 5 spaces to play with
Okay. Cool.
between
So
now and when you get back to the safe house. Yeah.
okay. So if I want to take whatever a brand gun is, if I want to take this thing, I would use up 3 spaces.
You can indeed. If you
You
look
don't
on
have
the mission,
to.
I don't have to decide
you
now,
don't
right?
have to decide now.
I have to decide when I want to use them.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
It's assumed that you have what you need at the point you need it. And to provide some kind of weapon reference, if you look on the mission, you'll see some pictures, just so you know what you're dealing with. Okay, so what I'm seeing then is you at the crouch running across this field to the tree line. Yeah? I think I need you all to do something just to see whether that goes as well as you would hope. So can I start with Sean?
Yeah. Can I get my? Does expertise apply for me here? Do we think?
I think so. You've got survival.
Yep.
I think that moving about in the dark, in the open, covers that ground.
Ooh, I got a 2 and a 4. What is a 4? 4 is like a midway hit, right?
Yeah, 4. You succeed with no obvious complications or benefit.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, you get above halfway on this. You're fairly much on safe ground.
I'll take it.
Okay, so then Simone.
Expertise? Or...
I'm not sure that this is expertise. Tradecraft is around, spy stuff like dead letterboxes and writing in code or stuff like that. I'm not sure that rushing, because you're certainly not dressed for it, rushing about in the night across open fields is probably not entirely your deal. So I think that probably this is without expertise.
Okay, then I will roll. And that's a 4.
With no complications at all, effortless. And finally, Captain Washington.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. I think I have survival, so I'm rolling with expertise.
I think that works.
Okay, so let's roll. And I have a 5. Wow.
Which is even better. So you get some extra benefit. What I'm going to allow you to do is to spot, I think, that this side of the compound is less well guarded. It looks like that there's a walking patrol that goes round the wire, and it looks like this side is not as well observed. The searchlight seems to be concentrating towards the other side for whatever reason. And now you are in the woods above the camp, looking down at it. And it's very clear from there that while you have the POW camp with its huts and its lights, there's then a wired kind of a short 15 feet, maybe 5 meters, kind of corridor of wire to the second enclosure, and the wire for that enclosure runs to the slope and up it. So you are at the wire uphill looking down, and it is clear that there is some excavation going on down there. You can smell the petrol from a petrol driven generator, and there's the constant kind of tick, 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 tick of a generator. What do you do?
Well, I think they're excavating something.
The question is, do we go through the wire or stay on this side?
Oh. Well, yeah, we could go around and see how far it goes up the hill for the beginning.
Yes, there may be. Is it where we are now? Is this like a covered area that we'd have cover while we cut through the wire?
Yes, you're at the. They've cleared some trees up to the wire, and then they've cleared about 10 feet from the wire. So there is that much open ground between where you are and the wire, and there are 2 lots of wire, barbed at the top, but you could cut through lower down.
Okay.
We should.
I can do this. I can get us in.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So I like sling my bag around and I pull my ground sheet out and I kind of I just unfold it and I kind of I've got it kind of tucked under my arm and I pull my handy wire cutters out from my rucksack and I kind of put the ground sheet over my head and I've got it kind of crumpled, kind of the edges of it are in my hands like this. And I put it over my back and I'm going to crawl forward. And if that light ever comes towards me, I stop so that it won't read me as a person shape to kind of try and camouflage myself a bit. And I'm going to go right up to the wire and snip, snip, snip.
I'm not even going to make you roll for that. That's just such a cool description that it just is too good to miss.
Fantastic. So, and that uses up 2 of my equipment slots, I think.
It does. And my presumption is that because you're a larcenist, you go in low, so you don't cut a big kind of slice up that you kind of. So it's going in as low as you can.
Oh, so, yeah, no. I cut as little of the fence as I possibly have to, then kind of peel it up and and then we're gonna. It's like asses and elbows, like they say in the military. That's
yeah.
That's all anybody would see if they were looking at us. So,
and what that means is that you can, if were it inspected, it could look like it hadn't been cut with a bit of luck. Okay, so that gets you through the outside wire. Are the others coming to that while you go to the second line, or are you waiting till you're through both sets of wire? They're about 5 feet apart.
I am waiting, but I'm looking at Simone, and you can see that I'm impressed. And I say, I don't know where they find these guys.
He is a brighter young man than he comes across.
Yeah, the product of the Belfast School of Hard Knocks. So you're waiting until Sean's through the second lot of wire. So, Sean, I am going to make you roll for this one because you got the other one just on cool. So this is do something else.
Yep. This is expertise, I feel, is completely legit on that. Absolutely. So I'm going to roll that. I got 2 5s. I'll take them both.
I'm going to give you the extra benefit that both of these holes you will be able to pull gently back together so that unless someone actively investigates, they will not know that someone's come through the wire. So there is now a gap in the wire for the other 2 to make the dash. Or are you going to use a ground sheet as well, guys?
I will. I don't know if Simone wants to do that, but I would.
Simone will follow in your footsteps, although I don't believe she has a ground sheet. She'll just take a jacket off.
Okay, well, because you got the ground sheet and you won't have to loiter because you know where the gap is, I'm not going to make John Washington roll to get through the wire. He can get as far as the second break in the wire where Sean is waiting under his elven cloak. But I am going to make Simone roll just in case that attractive brooch on the jacket catches any light.
Yeah, I feel like Simone wasn't carrying a ground sheet, so that option was never there. And that is just a straight roll, right? No expertise in that one.
That's right.
Sorry, it's not. There we go. That's only a 2, which is a complication, right?
The hard choice. What's the hard choice? I think the hard choice is your jacket gets caught on that nice hole that Sean has made for you. And the hard choice is you can proceed, but you will not be able to bend that back to look seamless as Sean has intended. And it could be that a strand or small tear of your coat is caught on the wire without you knowing it.
Can you add insight and reroll here? Is that
You
a thing
can.
you could do? Okay.
Yeah, so you could go again if you add the green insight dice.
I'll do that.
Okay.
That's a 5.
Okay, which is the extra benefit is that you don't make a mess of the fence, nor do you leave. You have a sudden flashback of what life could have been like, and then breathe. And because insight was not the highest dice, you don't even have to roll to increase insight. Okay, so all three of you are through the wire. The slope continues quite steeply down. There are some tree trunks where they've cleared the slope and cleared the brush away. They'll have cleared the trees, but probably there will be some brush, some cover. And you can see there's definitely in the middle of this compound, there's a couple of huts, and there's the generator. And that generator there's a single kind of light in the middle of the compound, and you can see there are cables snaking from the generator apparently into the hillside underneath you. What do you do?
I think we're going back. No, of course we're going. We're following the cables, I guess. I mean, we're here. We won't get this far that easily again, I guess. So let's go see what it is.
So, I love asking this question because it takes me back such a long time. Who goes first? Who goes second? Who goes third?
I'd go first if nobody wants to do that, because...
Well, rank has its privileges. So, okay.
That's not a privilege. That's not a privilege. You're right. I should send the rookie first.
Who's turned out to be quite a good scout.
Yeah, it's true. So, go ahead, Sean.
You got it, Cap.
What does Sean do?
So I'm gonna kind of, low crouch, sort of, move between those areas of brush, make sure I don't see any patrols or anything, around. And my goal is to get to the the backside of one of those huts.
Okay. So you go down the slope until it's flat. Are you going to wait for the others to get to that point before you set off for the hut?
No. Cap told me go, so I go.
Okay. So from your position of vantage up on the slope, John and Simone, you can see this shadow moving down the hill. You see him get to the bottom, and then there's the low scurry to the back of one of the sheds.
I think we'll follow him, because this isn't something where he should go alone, but he is the one who goes first because he's the most quiet guy. But I'm not staying behind. I'll leave what Simone does, I will leave to her, because, well, I won't order her around. She's a civilian, right?
Until otherwise stated, Simone will be sticking close to your heels, because she doesn't want to get caught off on her own.
Well, what it sounds like is that you maybe expected him to stop at the bottom of the slope, and he doesn't. And when you see he doesn't, you take off down the slope. So what I've got is Sean arriving at the back of the hut. There's a window with some light coming from it. And Sean, you can hear some funny noises coming from inside that hut. It almost sounds like a chittering. So
funny, strange, not funny, haha.
Funny, strange.
Okay. So is this the kind of thing where I can, if I put my ear right to the side of the building, I can hear a little better what's going on?
Yeah, these are not very, these are plank buildings.
Quonset huts, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a window. It's not open, and it is. There are curtains drawn, but you can listen at that, and there's distinctly some kind from inside.
Okay.
What do you do?
I kind of look back up the hill. Do I see them there, or are they following?
I don't know. That sounds like an investigate to me. What do you see? Just how good is their sneaking skill? You tell me.
Let's find out.
I think I'll give you expertise in this because I think larceny is about keeping an eye out as well.
Yeah, cool. All right. That's boxcars. I just rolled.
So you can, if you want to see them, you can see them. It's like they're just stood out, working their way down.
Yeah, I mean, like certainly I noticed that they're not where I left them, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. There's I see, there's like that, like the shadow behind that bush isn't quite right, so that's where they are. All right.
And because you rolled that so well, I'll let you ask me some questions about that hut if you want me to. If you want to.
Yeah. So first question is it flush with the ground?
No, it's raised.
Oh, you don't say. All right. Is that and the door is around the front, I think.
Yeah, my assumption is you went to the back of it where there was.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there any kind of a like a chimney or anything out the top?
There'll be I think probably a tin pipe.
Yeah, like a stovepipe.
A stovepipe.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. And I guess the other one is that is this window solid inset, or does it will it swing open, or what's the kind of, how's it set up?
It's a sash window, we call it in the UK, where they slide.
A sash window. Yep. Okay. Yep. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Simone and Captain Washington, who are now down at a bush. You can see just over to your left, about 20 paces away, the generator. 20 paces straight ahead of you, the corner of the hut, where you can just make out the shadow of Sean. What do you do, Cap? I think Simone's following you. So what are you going to do, Cap?
The generators cables are going into the hut, or are they going somewhere else?
There are some chunky cables snaking into the tunnel, because now that you're on a ground level,
there's a tunnel.
The excavation is going into the hill.
Yeah. Okay.
And there are chunky cables snaking into there, and then finer cables running to each of the huts, to the light that's in the middle of this compound, giving some illumination, and then another larger cable running across to the POW camp to provide the searchlights with power.
Yeah. Yeah, and what Will wrote, I think, is right.
Say again?
Will wrote that Sean should have seen something spooky with those sixes. I think that's right, isn't it?
Oh, he should. Yeah, you're right. Well, that's the chittering. Sean, roll for insight. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just rolling just a 6-sider here?
Just the central white dice, yeah.
I just want to make sure we all go crazy.
He's very well grounded, is Sean McCarthy. It's clear. Chittering. Okay. So what do you do then, Cap? That's what you've seen.
I think I know that Sean is at the hut, right?
Yeah. Okay,
can he see me?
I think that you can probably see that he's looked back towards you, and then he's kind of he's casing the hut, I think, but we'll see what he does in a moment. Well, in fact, let me just cut straight back to Sean and say, what are you doing, Sean?
So I see them there, and I kind of point, I kind of turn back at them, and I do my arms like this, and I go like make an okay symbol, like this is an okay place to be, and then I drop down into that belly crawl, and I'm going to crawl under the hut and see if I can get any better listen to what's going on in there while I'm crawling towards the front door.
What do
When
you
you look at me, I actually wanted to gesture to you that we're going into the tunnel.
I give you a thumbs up and start crawling under the hut.
Okay.
Okay, so Cap, the simplest way is just to follow the line of the hill around and then turn sharp, or look into the tunnel.
Yeah, cool. Then we'll do that.
The tunnel is lit. There's a string of naked light bulbs hanging from the ceiling. The floor is concrete, but you can see that in that light, about 10 paces in, there are some, I think you'd probably say that they're ancient stonework from where you're currently standing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
I would like you to investigate, please.
I would love to investigate. Investigating is nothing I'm good at because I am trained in martial arts and survival, and I'm a postal worker, which probably doesn't help either.
So it's just one dice.
So it's just the one. How about I get a 4?
Okay, you get. I think I've given you the bare minimum, but you get 2 questions.
Nice. Okay, the first question is, how well traveled is this tunnel? I mean, or simpler, is there somebody in this tunnel? Can I see signs that there is somebody, or hear signs that there's somebody in the tunnel?
Yes, I think you will hear the kind of click, 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 click of boot heels on the newly poured concrete that constitutes the floor.
And it's coming towards us?
I think it is coming towards you.
Nice. Now the second question, these drawings on the wall, are they just some cave drawings, or are they more sinister?
I think that they're less carvings was too strong a word. I think that there are a couple of fluted columns.
Ooh.
and a kind of decorative lintel across the top. I'm thinking kind of Roman. Okay,
like a gateway door or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are carvings on that, like figures or something, or
no?
Just,
I think they're probably ancient flower motifs or abstract carvings. They're kind of the kind of stuff you find on the front of Roman temples.
Well, I have no idea about Roman temples. I'm an American. We don't have these.
Indeed.
So,
which is why I'm banking on me not having to fill in the precise detail.
Yeah, that's okay. I know what they would look like anyway. Okay, so yeah, that seems like, but it doesn't seem exceptionally sinister or anything. But there are Nazis coming, and I will withdraw slightly and make a move to Simone to get back behind and take some cover. So we can see what's coming.
Okay, so you take some cover behind a bush, a couple of paces from where this tunnel entrance is. Fine. I leave you there while I cut back to Sean because it must be said only Sean would be able to get under this hut.
Sure. Yeah, it is literally a crawl space. It sounds like yeah.
So you can get under there, and what do you do?
I'm gonna look for the inevitable knothole in the board so that I can maybe try and look up and see, and and hear more generally what actually is going on in there.
This does sound like investigate again, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm beginning to wonder whether we've pushed larceny as far as we can get.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm hiding, but this is not anything that is. I don't feel like this part of it is like larceny got me here. Normally, what I would do is take something and leave. So that's what do we got? That's a 5 on my single die.
So on a 5, you discover everything a thorough investigator. Now, quite what a thorough investigator could find through a knothole, I'm not certain. So we'll be a little bit limited here.
Yeah, sure.
But I think I can certainly tell you that you can see stuff that makes you think it might be medical.
Mostly what I want to know is how many guys are in this building? How many people do I hear moving around, maybe see shadows of or whatever, something like that?
You don't see anyone walking about.
Okay.
But you can, I think that from where you are now, you can hear movement perhaps on a bed here and movement on a bed there. And
Got
through
it.
the
Okay.
knothole, you can see that those beds, you're in the middle,
Yeah.
and those beds are screened by one of those kind of hospitals.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Screen.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Anything else that you wanted to ask? Because I think I owe you one more, though circumstances are going to be pretty limited now. But go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, it's medical. Oh, what's it smell like?
Oh, that's interesting. It's
All five. Yeah, that's like good gaming. Use all five senses. Yeah. What's the like? Is it like a hospital smell? Is there something else that's different or weird? What's going on?
There is an antiseptic smell, but there's something else underneath it. I want to say it smells kind of waxy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best I can do for you.
Okay.
So that's you. We cut back to near the tunnel entrance, where from the perspective of Simone and Captain Washington, we hear the loud click, 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 and a soldier emerges from the tunnel. Now I'll carry on talking. If one of you interjects, I'll stop talking. Yeah. He's dressed in black rather than the field grey of routine field troops. He has highly polished boots, and he marches swiftly out of the tunnel entrance towards the other hut, not the one where Sean has gone underneath.
Does he have a skull thingy on his cap?
Sadly, because you're to one side and behind, he's kind of emerged to your side and walked away from you. But I think you are experienced enough to say that that is probably an SS uniform of some description.
The boots give it away.
Yeah, they always have those boots. Yeah. And he's briskly walking. Actually, no, thinking about him, no, he's strolling, I think. Yeah, I remember his character now. He's marched out and he looks up at the sky and then just strolls towards the other hut.
He looks like he's kind of relaxed. That's good.
Yes, he does. He seems very much in command of himself. And unless you tell me something else, he's going to open the door of that hut and go inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simone will wait for Caps. You know, we'll sort of exchange glances and look down. I'll gesture with the knife and then, you know, like toss the coin between us. You know, should we take him or should we leave him? And then I guess we both agree to just leave him to be for now.
Okay. So what do you do now, Simone and Cap?
Where's the boy?
Playing with the hut.
We cannot wait for him here. We must take a chance. This man might come back.
We don't have that much time. Let's go into the tunnel.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is that you sidle around the side of this. Now you're going to be in pretty good sight because the tunnel is lit. So if somebody looks into the tunnel, they'll see you, unless you move swiftly through that carved, pillared doorway.
Let's do that.
Yeah?
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. So swiftly through that, and the lights carry on, the space opens into I guess it must be about 4 paces across. And I'll give you a chance to look at it in a moment. We cut back to Sean underneath the hat. What do you do, Sean?
I'm gonna crawl my way to the front, take a look, make sure there's nobody coming. I don't see any patrols or anything like that, and then pop up quick. Hand up, open the door, slip inside, close it behind me.
Okay. I think that probably is do something else.
I think so.
And I am going to give you larceny on this one because a swift in and out is what you do.
There's my 6.
So that's effortless. You succeed brilliantly. You get inside, and because you rolled a 6, I'm going to tell you what you do. You look behind one of the screens, and there's a British POW lying down. He's chained. He's strapped to the bed, and then he turns towards you, and here is a large insect eye. Would you roll insight, please? Because this is quite concrete, Sean.
Oh yeah, it's gonna go up. Yeah, that's a 5.
And when he sees you and he goes to speak, but he opens his mouth, and instead of seeing his teeth, you can see mandibles, insect mandibles, chittering at you. And as they chitter loudly, you can hear from the other bed struggling, and it almost sounds like bits of leather moving against them, other bits of leather. What do you do, Sean?
I think I kind of stumble back towards the door, and then I look at him, and I just pull the curtain back, like so that I can't see him, and then I'm gonna go and kind of just peek around the curtain at the other guy, not whip it open, but just like a little peek.
And on the other side, in the other bed, is what looks like a man, but in where his legs ought to be, there are segmented insect-like appendages. That he's moving them against one another, and that's what's making that creaking, clacking noise. That's quite loud, actually.
Okay, and I do one of these like shut up.
I think let's see how can you convince this man to calm down? Let's have you do something else.
I reach into my shirt and I pull up my St. Patrick's medal and show it to him.
I think that counts enough for charm.
And I'm like, bloody be quiet, I say in English. So let me roll that. Oh, I got a 4. I'll take it. I'll take just
And
do what I wanted to do.
And he calms, and he looks at you with a human face, and squeaks out, "Kill me."
So I go up to him, and I kind of lean down, and I'm like, we need to know what's happening here. They sent us in to stop this.
I think this is investigate.
Yeah, sure.
What can you get from him?
And it's kind of one of these like you're the only one that can help us. Your buddy's in no condition to talk.
I think that your plucky, charming private gives you expertise on this.
Yeah, all right, cool.
He wouldn't share this with an officer.
Yeah, there's a 6.
what questions do you want him to answer?
Man, oh. Are they only doing this to prisoners, or have they actually done it to soldiers? Is one of the questions that I want to ask. Like, are there Nazis with, insect heads that we need to worry about? Or is it just like, is this just experiments they're doing right now?
Just us.
Okay. If I let you go and give you this, and I just hold a grenade up and I say, can I count on you to use it when it's going to help us?
Yes.
All right. And do I how many questions do I get?
You got one left.
I've got one left. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Like, what do we blow up to stop this? Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's like Starlight.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. And I'm gonna I will mark off grenades on my load. So I hand him one of my grenades, and whatever, like if there's a ring of keys on the, I assume there's whatever, like a ring of keys on a hook on the wall or something like that, or whatever. And
these are they're buckles. They're
okay.
buckles.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So I'm gonna let him up. And ask him his name, tell him mine, all of that kind of stuff, and I'm gonna give him that grenade, and I'm gonna say, as soon as you hear something start to happen, distract him for us.
You can trust me, mate.
And God save the Queen, and maybe slightly sarcastically, but yeah, he gets a salute. So
now I think you rolled a 6 there, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I think that this is this half man, half insect creature is going to make you roll insight.
Yeah, that's completely trying to have a normal conversation with him. That seems entirely legit. Yeah, that's going to go up again.
Great.
It's just getting to me here. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
there we go. Sorry.
Meanwhile, back in the tunnel, who wants to be looking around and who wants to be keeping an eye out, either back the way you've just come into the compound, or the lights carry on. They seem to have broken through a wall on the opposite side, and the tunnel continues with lights looping down. So who's going to keep an eye out and who's going to investigate this space, if you want to investigate this space?
That's what we're here for, right? You've got the binoculars, but do you still have them?
Yeah, still have the binoculars. Yeah.
Then I'll keep an eye out and you look ahead.
Oh yeah, I suppose I could use the binoculars to look down the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, you'll see that it runs for about another 10 feet into another open space, which seems, I think that beyond that wall where they've broken through into this second chamber, the second chamber is much older stonework.
So was the options of looking around, investigate the space that we're in now, or move further? Is that what you're saying?
Take your pick.
Okay.
You can either investigate this space, Or depending if you did really well, I could use some of the questions for what you can see out the other side of it.
I think that I would like pull Captain Washington further into the dig site, because the deeper we always have to go back out the way we came, right? As far as we know. So now's a chance to push in while we can.
Yeah, right. Totally with you, and you're muted, Alan.
I am. So you go through where they've broken through what is actually quite an attractive carving of some Roman figures, and they've smashed through that, and the tunnel continues to much cruder stonework. I think I will need one of you to investigate now.
Well, I will investigate. That is only a 2, but I will use my insight die to reroll that. Boxcars, not boxcars, snake eyes even. Great.
So if when you include your insight in a pool and it is equal to or more than your other one, then insight goes up. So insight goes up full stop. You can keep rolling to improve that one, or I can work on the 1.
Let's just work on the 1 for now.
Okay, the bare minimum you need is that beyond this chamber is another corridor. The passageway continues. Now I'm going to cut back to Sean, who's handed over the grenade. What do you do now, Sean?
I ask him what's in the other hut. I say, are there more of you in the other hut?
No, it's where they are.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna look around. Is there anything useful in here?
I suppose I could ask you to investigate the space to see what you could find.
Yeah, sure. Let me do that.
Go for it.
Totally do that. I got a 5.
Which gives you... It occurs to me I must alter these rules. These are far too many questions. You have 3 questions you can ask about this space. So is there something useful? I suppose useful for what is what I've got to ask you.
Is there something I can use as a weapon? Is there something I can use as a disguise? Is there something I can use as a distraction? Those are my 3 questions.
Okay. Disguise, there's almost certainly a white lab coat hanging behind the door.
Fantastic.
A weapon, I'm not sure really. You know, you've got a knife. There may be some scalpels in a cabinet somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
But I think that's probably all. And what was the other one? Distraction.
Yeah.
There might be, if you were to simply, your skill set doesn't really allow you to do this with any kind of plan. But if you mix together all the chemicals in the chemical cabinet, something might happen.
Yeah, I'm not going to jerk around with that. That'll just get us in trouble. I totally will shrug on a lab coat though, and if there's like a little whatever, a hat, and I don't even know, I don't know whether they have surgical masks or whatever, something like that.
I'm very happy for you to have a full surgical set if you want.
Yes. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Gloves,
yeah. The rubber gloves and the booties and stuff. And when it looks like there's no one looking, I will grab a clipboard and tuck it under my arm. And I'll take my gear and put it and pull it out of my rucksack and put it in a doctor bag.
Yeah, I can't resist it. Go for it. Where are you going with your doctor's bag?
I'm marching right down into the tunnel because that's where my crew went.
Yeah, and I think you will have seen them as you were slipping through the door. You'll have seen them go down the tunnel. Meanwhile, then in the tunnel, I think I do need you to investigate again to see where it goes and what might be up ahead.
Would I have to announce this beforehand that we were cooperating, perhaps, to investigate?
Yes. Can I?
Oh yeah. Why not? Why not? Just
Cool.
tell me which one of you is rolling when, and we take the highest between you.
So I shall roll first, and then
Okay, I'll cooperate with you, maybe.
I got a 6. So
Okay.
we've
cool.
already got the highest.
Okay, cool.
roll.
Then I'll just keep.
But sadly, having announced that you were both investigating, I do now have to expose Captain Washington to the risk of a really bad failure.
Okay, so I have to roll. What do I roll?
Well, just you roll as normal, and you just take the highest between the two pools. So I don't think that I don't think you have a skill set that's particularly focused to this. So it's just one dice.
I'll just roll the middle one, and I rolled a 2. But we've got your 6, right?
Indeed. So the 6 counts, and the 6, because it's so good, you encounter something strange, and what you encounter are a set of hooded robes hung on in a very neat row in the passageway, that when you examine are wet with blood. So would you roll for insight, please, Simone?
Me too? Because I was helping? And you're muted.
You don't need that. It's
okay.
He found something more than you, she found something before you did. So I think that Simone, you just need to roll for insight.
Oh, I rolled and it was a 1.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, there you go. At some point it had to start working for you. The robes are hooded and white, but they're marked. They're on their breast. There's a what looks like a flaming torch in black, stenciled on, and that is certainly human blood.
Ask a question: if they're white and soaked in blood, wouldn't they be red if they were soaked in blood?
Sorry, they're white material, but they are splashed and wet with blood. And beside them are some rubber aprons that are dripping with blood.
Okay. Do I get the questions as well?
You do.
Okay. Would these robes fit me and my companion?
They fit anybody pretty much. One size fits all.
Okay. What are the walls and the room, the surroundings like here?
They're old stone. They don't the nicely carved of that antechamber here are just dry stone up, and then they meet in a kind of beehive at the top. And the Nazis have knocked a hole in the far wall, and a passageway appears to have been dug further into what is now limestone.
Do I get to hold one?
No.
No. Okay. Does it seem like anyone is? How fresh is this blood?
In the case of the rubber aprons, it's dripping off it.
So it's still happened relatively recently, or it would be congealed and yeah. Captain, I think we were looking for a disguise. I think this may be the best thing we find.
I think they keep it down here. Oh, well. Okay, I guess.
I know I would not normally be seen dead in red, but okay.
I want to somehow give you a compliment about how red would look good on you, but no, sorry, this won't look good on anyone.
Looking at the blood spatters on the robe, it looks like they're designed, the aprons, they're worn with the aprons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess this guy that walked out for one of these, right?
He was carrying one.
Oh, okay.
He was in his uniform, but he was carrying a robe over his arm.
And you said they had hoods on, correct?
They do. All good cultist robes have hoods on.
Let's use that.
Yeah. Even if it only makes them hesitate for a second before they shoot us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I'm conscious we have about 30 minutes to play, so I'm not going to have another break. But I am going to hard frame the pitter-patter of Sean coming down the passageway behind you with this little kind of surgical hat perched on his flame red hair. So it's obvious, despite the mask and the hat, that it is Sean. So I'm just going to hard frame you back together. So you are here. The corridor goes on, turning away to the left, and you can hear sounds like creaking.
Can we assume that Sean has told us what he found?
I am going to tell you what I found.
Yeah, please.
Oh, yes, I'm going to tell you what I found.
Oh, please. Oh, my God.
Like we need to burn this entire place to the ground and kill. And everyone here has to die.
Yeah, I'm with you. But we should find out what's going on here.
Just before you do that, can I have both of you roll for insight on the basis of what Sean's just told you?
Yeah, sure.
I should have said that I rolled then, but I got a 1 again.
I have rolled a 4. So, well, I'm creeped out. Those Nazis, there's nothing they won't do, right?
Indeed not. Indeed not. So with that exposition of what's been going on, how do we approach the turn in the corridor? And you can hear conversation from around that corner now.
How many?
Investigate.
Yeah, let's investigate. I think that might go under, well, heavy. Might that go under martial arts because it's actually the kind of command?
I think I'll give you the nod on that one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a 6.
Then you can ask me any questions you like. So numbers. No more than half a dozen.
Ooh, that's many.
But there is one commanding voice in that. There's someone giving instructions in German. And occasionally you hear a kind of thwack, thwack.
Like he's hitting something or
something. You can hear a creak of some machinery of some description. And you can probably hear the kind of almost a kind of slosh, slush, 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 slush. Sounds like someone's mopping something up.
Okay. Huh.
And because you rolled a 6, that is a slightly creepy sound because you're convinced that they're just mopping up more blood. And in fact, there is a slightly coppery taste at the back of your mouth. So would you roll insight, please?
Oh,
Karen?
no. Sure. Let's see. I've rolled a 2, so blood doesn't bother me. I've got another question. If I throw 2 grenades in there, do I think I can get all of them?
I think that's tricky. You don't really know how well spread out they are.
Oh, well.
But I will then tell you, you hear, "Come on, mate, what am I doing in here?"
Oh, no, they've got a prisoner. So I look back at the other 2, and then I say, "Private, whatever happens, you hang back. If I don't make it, get it out, get the information out." Simone, please try to get him out of here and try to make it out, but we can't let this go on. And then I'm getting out my big gun, I guess, and I'm going in and start spraying bullets.
So your gun, that's the Bren gun, isn't it? Long range, heavy area.
Sure. I mean, I've got a met. Yeah, I can have that.
Yeah,
Ha!
so you tick that box in the equipment list and you mark off 3 boxes under your, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
What about Simone and or Sean? Is this a time that you want to declare some equipment, or are you holding your fire for a moment?
I think Simone swears and pulls out a revolver and moves up to support the captain.
Okay, so that sounds like Captain Washington round the corner first, followed by Simone, followed by Sean. Yeah, we know Sean has 1 grenade in hand and a doctor's bag. Okay, so you is this sneaking up to the corner and looking, or is this just charging around the corner and letting rip, Cap?
This is just me stepping around the corner and letting rip. This isn't their time for sneak. I mean, if I'm shooting a Bren gun, right, the time for stealth is gone now.
Fine. So this sounds like Confront the Mythos and its minions. You'll be pleased to know that in the first instance, we are talking about minions. So when you fight human or supernatural foes, say what success would look like. Do you do them harm, drive them into cover, subdue them, etc.? So what is your objective here?
I want to shoot them. Dead, preferably.
Kill them all. Fine. So roll 1d6, add 1d6 for your expertise, certainly. And we can worry about your insight dice in a moment, but you also get your heavy weapon dice. So you're rolling 3d6. Go ahead.
Yeah, my best is a 5 at the moment.
So on a 5, you succeed. The GM may offer you some extra benefit. The extra benefit is that you don't shoot the POW.
Yeah, that was what I was going for, actually.
But yes, I think because you came around and pretty much shot indiscriminately, I'm going to allow you to take down 3 robed and aproned minions. And what you see as you go around the corner and start spraying is they were indeed mopping blood from the floor. There is another person who's not dressed in uniform but is in civilian clothes. But he has a riding crop that he thwacks against his boot as he commands the others to do their cleaning up. He dives behind some crates and some equipment. So you don't get him, but you get 3 of the minions. Simone, you come round straight after that. What do you do?
So with the revolver in one hand, Simone also pulls out a German stick grenade from her coat pocket and will throw one of those over at the other knot of soldiers.
Fine. So again, that will count as, I think that's your ordinary dice and the heavy weapon, but I'm not certain that stick grenades are in your expertise.
Yeah, I don't have it's tradecraft for me, so that is only a 2, but I will roll my insight dice with that one to re-roll.
Did you roll heavy weapons? Remember, a grenade is a heavy weapon.
But I don't have heavy weapons. I'm an undercover agent.
No, but simply using the grenade. You can't use your expertise, but simply the grenade gives you that benefit in terms of the amount of harm you might do. So I've got 2 for the ordinary dice, and then roll your heavy weapon.
That's a 2 as well. It's all 2s at the moment.
So do you want to re-roll all 3 of those with your insight?
I do want to re-roll all 3 of those.
Okay.
And that gives me a 4 and ties on my insight. So
your insight goes up by 1.
Yep.
But on a 4, you succeed. So a group of 3 on the far side of the space are just blown against the wall. Sean, all hell is breaking loose around that corner. What do you do?
He told me to stay put. I'm staying put. I'm kind of looking behind us because I expect that like this is going to draw a crowd.
That might be a valuable insight.
Yeah.
So you're in the room, Cap and Simone. It's been excavated in the limestone. There is a bank of equipment at the far side. It's well lit. There is a pit dug in the middle, and above the pit, in a metal cage, I guess, is suspended a POW. And the guys you shot, one of the guys you shot, Simone, Cap, were at a kind of hand cranked wheel that would presumably lower this cage into that pit. What do you do, Cap?
Well, there's still this other guy who dove behind the whatever it is. Well, I have one slot left, so I'm drawing out my pistol. It's actually a heavy revolver, but hey. And I will go for him.
No way, man. So, if you're an American, you've got a Colt 45.
Yeah, I've got a Colt 45. I am totally an American.
I'm British, so I have a Wembley, but if you're American, you're carrying like a good American gun.
Like a real gun.
A modern gun. A gun that was not designed for the First World War. So what, are you walking up to this?
No, I'm not walking up to this. This guy might be armed himself. I'm trying to get behind some cover and then go up and fire at him.
The trouble is that at your end, the only cover really is that crank arrangement that will lower the. So I'll place you behind there unless you tell me different.
Yeah, damn it. No, it's not. That's no good. Wait, can I still shoot with the Bren gun?
Yeah. Yeah,
oh,
I mean, that's why I thought you were going up with the pistol.
Yeah, okay,
forget
it. I'm walking towards him and shooting the Bren gun. That should give me cover enough. And you're muted. But with this, I can guess what you were going to say. You want me to roll, right?
I do want you to roll. And this time, you need to roll with a failure dice, the first failure dice. Because he is going to be shooting with a revolver, a Luger over the top.
Oh, no.
So you're rolling.
Oh, wow. He is rolling very good.
He is.
But so am I.
You got 5. You succeed, and the GM will offer you some extra benefit. And the extra benefit, I think, is that you will kill him.
Cool.
If that's what you're intending to do.
That's what I'm intending to do.
But the 6 on the failure dice, because that exceeds yours, you may take some damages as well. So if the failure dice rolls higher than you did, roll 1d6 for consequences, plus your insight dice. If you want to take that risk, add 1d6 if what you're doing benefits from your expertise, and all these are true. They are amateurs and they aren't trying to kill you. Well, yes, he was. They aren't using heavy weapons. He wasn't. But you don't have any cover. So you simply have to roll 1d6, and you can put your insight die in that if you want to.
I can re-roll with my insight die.
You can.
Okay, then I'll just roll my normal die. I've got a 4. I think that's rather nasty.
No, low is bad. So high is good across the pieces. It's just a scratch. You'll live. So he wings you, but you kill him. The civilian is dead. Simone, what do? The Cap has marched across the room, just blowing equipment and packing cases to pieces with a Bren gun.
Simone will dash over to the edge of the pit and peer down into it.
Would you roll insight, please?
Yeah, I knew that was coming. That is tied with my insight.
So I can't remember whether I went for tied with or equal to. No, on an insight dice, it has to exceed, so you don't go up. But inside, in the pit is it's relatively shallow. It's maybe 4 or 5 feet down. but the bottom of the pit is a slab, an irregularly shaped black slab that is sparkling as if with starlight. Do you do anything?
Pull out my other grenade. And this British prisoner of war, he's suspended above the pit, correct?
He is.
So I will scream. I'll shout at him like, "How do we get you down?"
I think it's fairly obvious that this, it's like a little crane that pivots over the pit and back, and then you can crank him down or up. So you can, what I'm going to assume is that you are operating that. It's very well engineered, so it moves quite lightly on its gimbals.
Yeah, I mean, so basically someone would totally throw a grenade and kill the guy if he was, but we haven't tried to, you know, at this point it's just callous, right? It's just not even trying to rescue him, yeah. So
you're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean, you can hear the running boot heels on the concrete behind you. What are you going to do?
Oh, quick look over my shoulder. Is there another way out of that room? Like a door on the other side or something like that?
Investigate, please.
Yeah, let's do that.
Or do you just keep an eye behind you? You can either check out the room or you can worry about the boot heels.
Yeah, sorry. I'll take that quick look behind me.
Okay, roll for investigate then, please.
Yeah. I got a 3.
You get the bare minimum. There is no other way out. You can ask one question though.
Man. What kind of shape is that prisoner in?
He looks
Is he spry enough to walk?
scared shitless.
But
I think until you get him out of that cage, you won't be able to tell, I think.
Tough to say. Got it. All right.
Yeah. So that's your investigate.
Yeah.
Okay. So we cut back to Cap. You're in the middle of the room. You've put down everything moving in there other than the POW and the rest of the team. What do you do?
Is Simone pulling the POW down?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then I can look into the pit, of course, see what's there.
And now there is at this point. Yeah. So yeah. Roll for insight.
Sure. Come on, insight die. Give me something. Oh yeah, give me a 6. That wasn't what I wanted, and I really needed. I really need a stiff drink.
Well, would you like to try to reduce that by having a go at the medicinal alcohol, which actually was in the bottom of the doctor's bag?
Well, is it in my immediate vicinity?
No,
Probably,
but the thing is that I'm very happy for you to have whatever it takes to seek relief from the horror immediately. To be honest, it's not intended to be used on the hoof like this, but I just want to see the move.
Yeah, okay. No, but can I just use some senseless violence against the thing in there? Probably not.
No, I don't think so, unless you want to leap into the pit.
No, what I'll do is I'm a soldier, right? Mostly. I have one of these bottles these you know what I mean, these metal thingy, like small things with
Flask.
flask, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Indeed.
One of these. I have one of these, and I'll pull it out, and I'll just. I'm not even offering one of these things to Simone.
No, I think you just pour it all down your throat.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you get drunk, you reduce insight. Roll to reduce insight. So if you roll 5, if you roll less than 5, it goes down.
Oh well. Huh? No, I roll a 5.
But you still have to roll the d6 for the for getting drunk. So roll 1d6. Agree with the GM whether you make a scene about how you've been wronged, let slip something to the wrong people, carelessly wreck something important or meaningful. I think what you do is you run amok around where the guy with the riding crop was and kick his notebook into the pit. Yeah.
Can I make an alternative suggestion?
Go on.
Staggers over to help shove Simone out of the way to use the winding thing, and breaks it.
Oh yeah, that is actually better. Well done, Will. Yeah. Yeah. It creak, and you can't get the POW down now. Sean, back to your spot. You can see shadows coming around the corner into that chamber before this one. What do you do?
Oh, I pull the mask up, and I grab the bag and the clipboard, and I start running towards them, and I'm waving my arms, and I start yelling, "Achtung! Achtung! Achtung!" And like I try to screw my eyes up into a look of horror, and I'm saying, "Achtung! Monster! Achtung!" And I'm like saying like waving at them to get back and like looking over my shoulder.
I think that's charming. So I think you roll with expertise to see whether you can carry this off. And this is when you try to avoid fighting, do something else. So do something else.
I'm doing. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Woo! There's a 6. Yeah.
So this is beginning to freak you out now. So I think you will roll for insight.
For sure. Yeah.
But they absolutely they're waving you through. And they're backing off to the first doorway with their machine guns leveled as you run behind them.
Okay.
Yeah, luck of the Irish. Yeah, absolutely. So Sean has legged it out, frankly, as far as you want to get, Sean.
I got a 4, which is which means it's going to go up one more time. If they're waving me through, I'm gonna really sell it. I'm gonna be like and then just just run past them and all the way back up the corridor.
I think that if you'd done better than that, I'd have given you the extra benefit of maybe having them retreat as well. But they're just going to hold position.
Yeah, yeah.
So back in the chamber.
And anybody I run into on the way up, I'm like,
I'm happy for you to get out into the compound, leaving Cap and Simone in the chamber with the POW that they cannot now get down. Very good call, Will. Thank you for
that. Simone will shove, press the thing one more time, and then look up with the POW, and then just say, "Je suis désolé," and prime the grenade and throw it into the pit, and dive for cover.
And what happens is that I think probably Cap will see it and dive too. And I
think Cap is drunk, so he'll just stand there and curse this thing. So much for German engineering. And then it dropped behind it.
And therefore, Cap sees the grenade go into the pit and disappear into that starlit slab, and there is no explosion. What do you do?
I'll empty my gun into it. I mean, I know that this won't do anything, but I think it's kind of psychological. Give me relief to shoot at it just for a bit.
Yeah, it's the kind of, it's almost like beating it up. Simone, what do you do?
She stands up as a grenade doesn't go off, and then she looks panicked. And can we hear the Germans outside?
Yes, and to be honest, given that we are 7 minutes from finishing, I'm inclined to now say, shall we do 3 swift epilogues? Because I think we could do this blow by blow, but I think we know where this is going.
Yeah, but I've got another idea.
Oh, go on. Oh, Cap, go.
We could. I mean, it's a cave, right? It's got to have its weak points. We can blow up the cave.
Yes. Now, the thing to do that with would be a satchel charge.
Simone. Do I have one?
Unfortunately, you used up all your equipment slots, and
Simone
so
doesn't
has Simone.
Either.
The only person who could have a satchel charge.
Yeah, well,
ran from the cave.
No, I didn't use, but I have I have grenades left. I marked the revolver that I didn't use.
Yeah.
I have grenades, so I can try.
Wait, but did you use a grenade yet?
No, I didn't use a grenade. You used two grenades.
You only mark it when you use it, so you could have brought a satchel charge, right? Because you haven't used a grenade yet.
But I have no space for
Oh, I see. You only have one space. I'm sorry, I was getting confused. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
So this is about jury rigging 2 grenades to bring the ceiling down. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. That's
so I think that is do something else. And I think that probably is with expertise for a commando.
Yes, I think so too. Let's roll that. Yeah, 5 and a 4. Yes, that should do it.
So I'm not sure.
Sorry, I'm turning to Simone and say, sorry, lady. Sorry, no lady. Sorry, Cherie. Was nice knowing you.
And so are you sealed inside or outside?
No, the cave is coming down.
On you.
All the cave, on us, on this monstrous horror, and maybe it'll take some of these Nazis with them, and the POW, sorry.
Can I say one thing that Simone does just as you do the grenades?
Let me order this then. So the epilogue for Cap, I think we've just heard, unless you've got something else to add. Yeah, okay. So Simone, give me your closing scene.
She, as Cap starts rigging the grenades, Simone will look with horror at the pit and dive in.
There was a way out. Okay. So that's what we see. And then I guess I want to cut to a debrief. Sean, what's your epilogue?
I do have a satchel charge left, and it's going on that other hut. And what we see is if when I get up to the top of the tunnel, the first hut hasn't blown up yet.
I don't think it has yet, because my guess is that Bert is looking out the window and waiting. He's seen a bit of to and fro, but nothing else.
Then what happens is, scene of Sean, hands and knees, beep, whatever, sticking the thing in and setting the little, the little analog clock timer on the, whatever, on the 8 bundled sticks of dynamite, right? And setting it for, whatever, 5 minutes or something like that. And then next scene is Sean in the woods with the guy with the insect legs with his arm around Sean's shoulders, and big explosion in the background. And last scene is us in that farmhouse, me on the radio, giving coordinates and saying, like, drop every fucking bomb you have.
And with that climactic air raid, I think we will close. And I'll stop the broadcast. So wave goodbye to the internet. Goodbye, internet.